Well, good evening, this is Hamlock's Tea, wishing you a very pleasant evening and welcome back to the channel. And as the days seem to be getting a little bit longer now towards the end of January, I thought I would shift gears a little bit and bring you a sunny, positive, hopeful kind of story. And this is a patent from the US Navy that they just made very recently. And this was passed on to me by a friend of mine, so if you're out there, darling, thank you very much. It was a great read, very informative, and actually stunning information. And basically what the US Navy has done is patented a new form of miniature fusion generation. And we're talking a reactor the size of 1 foot by 3. This is unbelievable. This is miniaturization beyond belief, and you can only imagine the kind of effect and impact that it would have on manufacturing. The cost of hydro would fall off a cliff. The municipalities, the province, the federal government, all of their hydro bills would fall off a cliff. All of the generation costs of hydro, which is probably the most expensive part, the building of power plants, nuclear power plants, and so on and so forth, all you'd have to maintain is the distribution network. And seeing as we're coming up for replacement of the distribution network system anyways, now with the savings, it would be a novel idea to start burying some of these cables and making them absolutely maintenance free and free from weather impacts and that kind of stuff. You could localize the generation of hydro. You could have one of these pieces of equipment and a solar panel field, and that would generate enough electricity to power this device, because what it does is it really seems to be like a hydro or electricity amplifier. Okay, so they're talking about 1 megawatt of hydro producing between a gigawatt and a terawatt of hydro out of that, and that is absolutely stunning increase. This is previously unheard of. There has been fusion generators built by Russia, for example, but they didn't really work very well. There's another one under construction apparently in India, and they're hoping to produce 500 megawatt from 50 megawatt. Okay, so that's nowhere near the kind of dramatic increase that you're seeing with this piece of equipment. And because the US Navy has patented it, these people are the forerunner. Now it doesn't say that it's operational, however, I think that when you have patented something and put that out in the open, I think you have a pretty good idea that this is a workable idea. Anyway, I picked up an article from the Forbes magazine and it seems to be about the best, so I'm going to read to you that in its entirety, and it will explain just about everything that's going on here. But this really is an absolutely miraculous breakthrough in energy technology. Okay, so let's go over that letter and I will come back and do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie, here we go. Okay, so this from Forbes magazine, a breakthrough in American energy dominance, US Navy patents compact fusion reactor. President Donald Trump's energy dominance narrative, fueled by the prolific production of oil and gas from America's shale gale, recently got a boost from the United States Navy. The US Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division filed a patent for a compact fusion reactor, CFR, last month. One that claims to improve on the shortcomings of the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works CFR that uses similar plasma confinement technology. The man behind the state-of-the-art design is US Navy researcher Salvatore Cesar Paes, who received major publicity for patenting room-temperature superconductors and a suspiciously UFO-like aircraft that uses anti-gravity technology. If it sounds like science fiction, that's because it sort of is. Nuclear fusion, the reaction that powers the sun, has been the elusive dream of the scientific community for decades. Theoretically, a fusion power plant will be able to produce near limitless amounts of clean, safe energy from a small amount of electricity and a handful of hydrogen isotopes. A fusion reaction is impossible to replicate in its perfect form because laboratory conditions cannot recreate the gravitational force of a star. But that hasn't stopped scientists from trying. The US Navy patent claims that it can achieve these enormous amounts of energy in a compact device through the use of spinning dynamic fuses. plasma containment devices which keep nuclear plasma stable in a way that mimics the mass of the Sun. And here is a diagram. Don't pretend to understand it, but there you go. The patent also states that the resulting fusion reaction will produce a net energy gain, more energy emitted than enters the system, which would be an unprecedented first for man-made fusion reactors. Theoretically, Pei's concept could produce upwards of 1 gigawatt, 1 billion watts, to 1 terawatt, 1 trillion watts of power from just a megawatt, 1 million watts of energy input. For reference, a large nuclear power plant produces about a gigawatt of power, enough to supply some 700,000 American homes. If it works, a Navy-patented CFR could replace the fission nuclear reactors used in almost 150 naval vessels, most of which operate under the 100 megawatt range. In fact, a CFR the size of a small car could be utilized in any peaceful or wartime scenario where energy is needed, from ships to jets to tanks to remote military bases. It's no wonder then that the US naval patent claim has come under scrutiny from the scientific community, especially given that the device only measures 0.3 to 2 meters in diameter. Instead of using superconducting magnets in larger, more traditional fusion plants, Pei's design uses conical dynamic fuses that spin at extremely high speeds to produce a sustained, concentrated magnetic flux that could in theory sustain the plasma state needed for power production. This powerful magnetic flux then compresses an isotopic hydrogen gas mixture to form a plasma core in the vacuum chamber, which can achieve temperatures high enough to achieve true fusion with break-even energy. Achieving an energy gain at all, much less from a compact device, would be an enormous achievement not just for the US Navy, but for the entire planet. It would be a technological revolution similar to the discovery of coal-based steam engine and the gasoline-powered internal combustion engine, only with orders of magnitude more energy. It would also be safe and emissions-free. And while fusion has been called a technology that is always going to be 30 years away, the threat of climate change has increased the impetus to achieve success. Energy giant Anyspar recently invested $50 million towards Commonwealth Fusion Systems, a company founded by 6 MIT professors. Billionaires Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are backing Breakthrough Energy Ventures, a group committed to funding nuclear fusion research. Fusion occurs at temperatures exceeding 15 million degrees Celsius, which can be achieved by feeding fuel, the hydrogen isotopes of deuterium and tritium mainly, into a plasma field, among other methods. The Soviet Union provided the initial blueprint for achieving nuclear fusion through plasma with the first tokamak reactor, which was ultimately unable to sustain fusion conditions for more than a few seconds. Today, a number of such tokamak fusion projects exist around the world. China is working on its China Fusion Engineering Test Reactor to become operational in the 2020s, and South Korea has its K-Star project, a tokamak which reached a record 70 seconds of plasma operation. The largest project by far, however, is the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, which is a collaboration of the EU, India, Japan, China, South Korea and the United States. ITER is a massive fusion reactor facility that aims to produce around 500 megawatt of fusion energy when complete, with an input of only 50 megawatts, 10 times its energy input as opposed to the millions-fold increase in the Navy CFR. The ITER project represents the international commitment to finding alternative clean energy in the face of climate change. It is unclear whether this patent represents a monumental scientific breakthrough. Some even said that this may be a disinformation operation, an attempt to divert America's peer competitors to pursue a technological dead end. What is certain is that the nuclear fusion technology development is gathering pace. While the Navy's design may not be immediately operational or even realistic, a major shift towards harnessing clean fusion energy is already on the horizon. All the better if the United States harnesses it first. Okay, and this from SOT News. US Navy files patent for compact fusion reactor, and here is a picture of the Skunkworks team members that work on the experimental compact fusion reactor, so you get an idea of what kind of size this is. The War Zone has been reporting on a set of bizarre patents assigned to the US Navy that describe radical new technologies that could absolutely revolutionize the aerospace field and, frankly, the very way we live our lives. These include high-energy electromagnetic fields used to create force fields and outlandish new methods of aerospace propulsion, and a vehicle design that basically reads as UFO-like technology. Now, the same mysterious Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division engineer behind those patents has produced another patent, one for a compact fusion reactor that could pump out absolutely incredible amounts of power in a small space, maybe even a craft. So I think you can see that this is absolutely revolutionary, and to be quite honest with you, I am absolutely stunned by the fact that the mainstream media has not picked up this information and broadcast it far and wide. I mean, as I say, this is absolutely revolutionary, and you can see what an absolute game changer that it could be. And it's kind of interesting, I was just listening the other day to an interview with Cliff High from the Webbot Report, and he was being interviewed by David Morgan on the Morgan Report. And one of the things that he said was coming up is that somebody was going to discover the secrets of magnetism, the way Tesla unlocked the secrets of electricity. Because really the two main powers in this universe are electricity and magnetism, and to be able to unlock those secrets, and he said it would lead to the creation of incredibly miniaturized yet powerful electronic generation devices. And so here we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the future. This is like being in Star Trek territory, and if this could change the lives of so many people worldwide, because having cheap, unlimited energy is a great way to leapfrog your living conditions for your people. All of a sudden you can power all kinds of equipment, you can have lighting which is dependable, and like I say, this is going to be so important into the future, is having dependable, localized generation, so that you're not dependent on a nuclear power station 100 miles away. And anything goes wrong with that nuclear power plant and you are out of luck, buddy. There ain't no hydro coming down that line, and this could really give you sort of energy security in the long term, while saving literally millions and millions of dollars. So I think this is a great story for 2020, and I think it's just one of the many positive. There's some negative stuff going on, no doubt about it, but I think there are going to be some lights at the end of the tunnel, and I think some of these new discoveries are going to really offset some of the difficulties that I see coming down the track. Okie dokie, well, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe below, and in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening, and in the meantime, you take care, and we'll talk to you very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.